Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, welcome to lecture number one of Globalization and Economic Integration. It is a very good subject which covers the globalization, the international finance institution, the international trade, and the international economic integration. We will discuss the BRICS, the European Union, the ASEAN, etc. In this subject. But before proceeding to the subject, uh, let's have the lecture number one, uh, whereby we come to know what globalization is. So, students, we see that around the world, changes are occurring in the world economy. There was a time when national economies were related self-constrained entities, isolated from each other by time, distance, zones, language, by national differences in the government regulation, culture, and business system. In short, we can say that there was a time, few decades ago, when the world was not, the countries around the world were separated, they were isolated, they were not very close to each other, and there were many reasons for these. The reasons were distance, time, zone, language, rules, etc. But with the passage of time, now we are moving toward a world in which barriers to cross-border trade and investment are declining. We see that as compared to 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, uh, the world countries are coming closer to each other and the dependence on each other is increasing. Why it is so? Because the differences, the distances among the countries have been abolished by advances in transportation and telecommunication technology. Uh, there are very rapid transportation system across the world. The people travel from one country to another country through fast airlines, through the fast trains, through the buses, etc. And the telecommunication technology uh, has shown a revolution, and the advent of the internet, the softwares, the international connectivity through the internet has made the world a global village. The media culture is starting to look similar the world over. As the world has come so closer to each other, the countries are very close to each other. That is the reason that the world uh, seems uh, one, one village with almost similar culture. The national economies are merging into interdependent and integrated global systems. The national economies are merging, and we have almost a global system where the information is very fast and the trend is very fast, the traveling very fast. No country, we can say, is far away from another. The process by which this is occurring is commonly referred to as globalization. Students, we suppose that there is an American who is driving in a car in any state of the USA. So uh, and possibly he may be traveling in the car which is designed in Germany. It is assembled in Mexico, and the car has been made in the United States and Japan. The components were made in the components may be made in US and Japan, made from Korean steel and Malaysian rubber. The as we can see in Pakistan, the construction, the production of different cars with the parts from almost so many countries. The car may be filled with the gasoline at a service station owned by a British multinational company. Similarly, while driving to work, a person might talk to her stockbroker on a Nokia cell phone that was designed in Finland, assembled in Texas, using chipsets produced in Taiwan that were designed by Indian engineers working for Texas Instruments. Now, the person is sitting in a car, and the car is made of the parts which were made in different countries. Similarly, in the same car, he is talking to someone, and the phone on which he is talking, it is designed somewhere, it is assembled somewhere, the parts are made somewhere else. She could now, the person who was telling and talking to stockbroker on that Nokia phone, she was, he or she was asking the stockbroker to purchase shares of a company which is a German telecommunication company that was transferred from former state-owned monopoly into global company by a energetic Israeli CEO. This is about the. She is sitting in that car, and there is the contribution of Israel of the Germany. What is happening in that car? Similarly, she may turn a radio which was made in Malaysia by a Japanese firm, to hear the songs composed by Sweden, sung by a group of Danes in the English who signed record contract with French music company to promote their record in America. The music which she is listening, it may be written by a person who is not in the US. The radio on which she is hearing, it is not made in the US but in Malaysia by a Japanese firm. Similarly, the singer was someone else. The contract record was made by someone else. This means that in a single car, uh, in the building production of that car, on the phone which she was talking, and the she was the share which was she wanted to purchase, and the radio. All these are the examples that the only in that single car there is a contribution of a number of countries, which means that the global dependence of one country over other country in the production, in the sales, and in the contracts. Globalization refers to shift toward a more integrated and interdependent world economy. Globalization is to shift is a situation where we move toward an integrated and interdependent economy where the countries depend one another. Globalization is far more than the international movement of goods and investment. It is not just the movement of the goods and investment, but the flow of ideas, the flow of knowledge, diffusion of knowledge as well. Now, just after introducing the background of the globalization, let's define globalization. Globalization is a word which everyone today uses with very normally and associates it with any and anything, but the vastness of the word is not the way it appears to be normally. The Oxford Dictionary says globalization is the act of globalizing from non global, meaning pertaining to or involving the whole world. The OED definition is broad and emphasizes the process or act of globalization as impact on the world. Dear viewers, the Oxford Dictionary meaning it means that the globalization is something, the act of globalizing, the act of activities which involve the whole world. Globalization is a broad term and encompasses varied perspectives. It refers to the global outlook of the different nations of the world coming closer and joining hands in terms of economy, education, society, and politics. Dear viewers, before this slide, in the last slide, we discussed that the globalization doesn't mean only the flow of goods and services, but it means the integration of the economies, the integration of the education, society, and politics. We can see so far the economy is concerned, a shock in one country, in one part of the world, a strong shock in a stronger economy of the one side of the world affects the whole world. We can remember the economic crisis in the US in 2007-8, which affected the whole world, which means the integration of the world economies. Education that we see online courses, online degrees, online admission system, online the lectures on the YouTube and other networks. All these are, we search for the libraries, we search for the databases of the different research journals. This is the globalization of in education, societies, politics. Now we have trade blocks, we have political blocks. So this means that the globalization is not only the exchange of goods and services, but it means the integration of economies, the integration of education, integration of the trade system, the politics, and the society as a whole. We can say globalization refers to growing interdependence of countries resulting from increasing integration of trade, finance, people, and ideas in one global marketplace. Again, I would like to say that the globalization means the dependence of countries in the field of trade, finance, people, and ideas. As I talked before, the diffusion of the knowledge. So the ideas developed in one part of the world are not limited to that part, but with the passage of time, these transmit to other regions of the world. Globalization is the system of integration interaction among the countries of the world in order to develop the global economy. Globalization refers to the integration of economies and societies all over the world. These are different definitions of the globalization which have used in the literature. Globalization involves technological, economic, political, cultural exchanges made possible largely by advances in communication, transportation, and infrastructure. So, dear students, as I told in the previous slide, that there have been technological developments in the form of the internet and the software development, the invention of the newer and newer instruments. We see advances in the mobile system, in the Android mobile, in the computer, laptops, palm tops. The similarly, we see developments in the economic field. We see the trade blocks. We see European Union. We see the ASEAN. We see the SARC. We see the G20. We see so many other groups of the countries working for the global economy. There are political and cultural exchanges as well. So this means the transportation, the communication has made the interaction of the countries together. It has increased the dependence of countries on one another. The term has been used in this context since 1980s when computer technology first began, making it easier and faster to conduct business internationally. No one can deny the importance of the computer technology in the globalization because we see that mainly the computer technology, IT, information technology, computer technology, they start development in 1980s and 1990s. The introduction of the internet in the 1990s in the around the world shows a very clear picture of the globalization. And we see today that around the world today, about 5.2 billion people are using the internet. 5.2 billion is a very large figure. This means around the world 5.2 billion people are in interaction with one another through the internet. Or in other words, we can say that internet has made possible the contact between 5.2 billion people, which is a good example of globalization. Uh, the international trade and cross-border investment flows are the main elements of this integration. The process of globalization, therefore, is an amalgamation of interaction and integration among different groups of the people, various organizations, and governments of different nations. Therefore, we can say that globalization is usually understood as a process in which the barriers, physical, political, economic, separating different regions from the world are reduced or removed, thereby stimulating exchange in knowledge and goods. Students, we see that the barrier, physical, political, economic, and cultural barriers are reducing, and the world is becoming a global village, a single, just like a single country, and the exchange of knowledge, the diffusion of the knowledge, the exchange of goods, ideas has been accelerated with the globalization. It allows freedom of movement or liberalization, and it promotes mutual reliance. And to most people, this seems positive. As the number of exchanges of goods and of information increase, the result is growing interdependence between countries as they come to rely on various imported products and services. Viewers, we can conclude that globalization is the movement toward a more integrated and such a world where the economies, the people, the countries depend on each other, they become interdependent. Dear students, dear viewers, now let us discuss the four levels of globalization. Globalization often refers to the increasing degree of connection between various countries and their economies, as we discussed in the previous slides. Uh, but another definition involves the efforts of business to expand their operation into foreign markets. Uh, this is continuity of the previous definition. When the countries and the economies become interdependent on one another, this is there is a role of the exchange of goods or the trading of goods in the foreign market as well. According to the definition has gained importance with the advent of internet, which gives all the companies potential to achieve global reach in their operation. According to Jennifer Derryberry, business generally operate at one of the four basic levels of the globalization. The first level of globalization is multi-domestic company. Viewers and dear students, the first level of the globalization is multi-domestic company. What is it? At this level, the business consists of several independent units that operate in the different countries with little communication between them. It is a multi-domestic company where the different units of an organization work across the countries, across different countries, but there is no communication between them or very little communication between them, and they are independent from the operation of one another. The second level, an international company maintains a headquarters in one country and operates branches in other country. Here, the dependence increases. The company has, for example, there is a company A. It has headquarters in Pakistan. It will operate its branches in India, in Afghanistan, in the UAE, in the Saudi Arabia, in the Egypt, in the Nepal, China. Means it has a headquarters in one country, in Pakistan, but it has branches around the world. At this time, the company is likely to impose its home country bias on other markets rather than making a true effort to integrate into the global economy. Here, the company will issue orders. It will operate its branches across the countries according to uh, its own country's rules, regulations, and the standards. The third level of globalization is an advanced level where a transnational company consists of loosely integrated business units in several countries. At this level, the company makes greater effort to address the local needs of operation in each country. This is an advanced level as compared to the second. Here, the country takes into account the local needs. The country in which it is operating, it will take into account the needs of the people, the need for the smooth operation, keeping in mind the local laws, the local demand, the local culture, the local uh, tastes and preferences of the consumers. The fourth level of the globalization is truly global economy. It is the most advanced form. Various type of the business views the world as a single market and develops an overall strategy for various operations around the world and applies the lessons of each country to ensure its global success. Derry noted that this is the ideal level for globalizing organization, but it is not easy to achieve. It's a very hard because uh, it gives independence to the firms, its branches, and there is integration of all these, and the company acts like a single market around the world. It considers the world as a single market. So we can say that the globalization refers to the shift toward a more integrated and interdependent world economy. Globalization is far more than international movement of investment and goods. The flow of ideas from one part of the world to another has increased enormously in the last 2 centuries. We see that the flow of ideas this increased during the last 2 centuries because and this became possible because of the invent of the internet and the spread of the internet, because in the last two decades the internet has spread to billions of the people. As I told you in the last slide, that 5.2 billion people in the world, they are using the internet. So the flow of ideas from one part of the world to another is very simple now, easy now. The 19th century saw the beginning of enormous expansion of knowledge about living things. Specialized institutions devoted to creation of knowledge were created, including the research universities and institutes. Globalization has several facets, including the globalization of market and globalization of production. Dear students, dear viewers, we uh, can make a distinction between the globalization of market and globalization of production. These are the factors which accelerated the globalization. The globalization of market refers to the merging of historical distinct and separate national market into one huge global market. What is globalization of market? It means the, the integration of the markets into a huge global market in a single global market, uh, falling barriers to cross-border trade have made it easier to sell internationally. The tastes and preferences of consumers in different nations are beginning to converge to some global norm, thereby helping to create a global market. For example, we can say that the credit cards, these work across the countries: Coca-Cola, the Sony PlayStation, McDonald's, the Starbucks coffee, uh, IKEA furniture. These are used around the world, means they have the global market. Firms such as cited above are more than just benefactor of this trend, they also facilitator of it. By offering the same product worldwide, they help to create a global market. That was to sell the same product around the world. Now we have the globalization of production, where we see that a product, as we discussed in the beginning of this lecture, that a product is made in one country while it has parts which are made in other countries, and the design is prepared in some other country using the idea of some other country. So globalization of production refers to the sourcing of goods and services from locations around the globe to take advantage of the national differences in cost and quality of factors of production. We know that the labor, energy, land, capital, they have different rates around the world. So what the international firms do, that they take advantage of the cheap labor, cheap energy, cheap land, cheap capital, and they integrate it to such a product which is comparatively having low cost of production. By doing this, companies hope to lower their overall cost structure or improve the quality of their product. We take the example of Boeing 777, which is a commercial jet airliner. This is the globalization of production. The production of Boeing 777. Air Japanese suppliers make parts for the fuselage, doors, wings. A supplier in Singapore makes the doors for the nose landing gear. Some parts of the Boeing 777 are prepared in Japan, and some are prepared in Singapore. Three suppliers in Italy manufacture wing flicks and so on. This means some parts are prepared in Italy. In total, some 30% of the 777 by value is built by foreign companies. And for the next airliner 787, Boeing is pushing this trend even further, and we can see that with some 65% of total value of the aircraft scheduled to be outsourced to foreign companies. 35% of it will go to three major Japanese companies. Means that this is a simple example of the globalization of the production. In the beginning of the lecture, we took the example of a car. That is also the globalization of production. We take the example of the Nokia cell phone, which was made somewhere, the parts were developed somewhere, the software were developed somewhere. So that is another example of the globalization of the production. So, dear students and viewers, general viewers, thank you very much for watching this video, this lecture, and hope you will keep continuing watching our lectures on the YouTube channel Economist 95. Hope you may have subscribed the channel. If not, so it is requested to subscribe the channel. Thank you very much.